Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Thought-Filled Thursday. It's P. Coffee Brown here out of the great state of Texas, and I just wanted to connect with you guys for my usual just about 5 minutes, but sometimes, I get excited and I go over a little bit, so pardon me if it's 6 minutes and 50 seconds, okay? Nonetheless, it's a great Thursday here in the state of Texas, honey. It's hotter than fish grease already, and it's early in the morning. Okay, so y'all already know it's going to be off the charts later on today with this heat. So be careful if you're in Texas and you're moving around. Be careful, and try to stay indoors as much as possible while we deal with this heat wave. Man, but you know what? It ain't hot compared to where one of our panelists live at. Robert Lee was sharing with us before we went on the show this past Tuesday about where he lives at, and he told us it was like 112 or 15 degrees, some kind of foolishness like that. I said, oh my Lord, what kind of ministry is that? Oh, the heat ministries. That's what it is, honey. It's the month of August. It's the hottest month of the year. August. Month of new beginnings. How could that be possible? Anywho, let's get back to it, y'all. It's Thought-Filled Thursday. Wanted to connect with you guys. Listen, I have gotten so much mail about this past Tuesday night show regarding sex. Is it the real culprit keeping you from a healthy relationship? People were chiming in from all over the place. I got a lot of inbox messages about the show with people sharing their thoughts and opinions that didn't necessarily want to share them on a public platform. Nonetheless, we'll do this for an epilogue. This will be an epilogue for this past Tuesday's show. So is sex the real culprit keeping us from a good relationship, a good, solid, healthy relationship? Sex is one of the culprits, but it's not the culprit. As I stated on Tuesday night's show, if you missed it, I believe that it is our thinking that's keeping us from healthy relationships. It's our thought life, how we perceive relationships, how we engage in relationships, how we connect in relationships, how we communicate. Those are culprits that are keeping us from a healthy relationship. Sex is just one of the culprits, and it's a result of our thought life. If you actually open up the arsenal of where you've been in times past in comparison to where you are now, you can find out a whole lot about why you may not be experiencing a healthy relationship. You can look at your history. It's a story that tells about you, about what has gone on with you. It's like somebody who has had several failed relationships and they try to think it's the other person, but the common denominator is them. Come on now. So think about it. Consider it. Sex is just part of the equation to why we're having these unhealthy relationships. It's just one factor. But there's many other factors that are keeping us from enjoying love, intimacy, commitment, connection. Another major thing that's really causing us to suffer in our relationships is our inability to communicate. Man, I tell you, communication is everything when it comes to relationships. It is the rise and fall of success. I don't care if it's platonic or professional or romantic relationships. If you are not a good communicator, you don't have to be the best communicator, but you got to be a good communicator. If you're not a good communicator, you will suffer in your relationships with individuals, be it the opposite sex, the same sex, be it leadership, or be it someone that your family, or even with your children, or your peers, or your friends, your platonic friends that you hang out with. If you're not a good communicator, those relationships definitely will suffer. So we have to be able to really communicate in order to have healthy relationships. We got to be able to talk about things candidly and openly without the fear of being rejected because of our truth. We got to be real, you guys. We got to start opening up, connecting and communicating, and being consistent. Consistency is also another culprit of unhealthy relationships. I tell you what, unhealthy relationships are all over the place, and commitment is one of the things that are causing it. If you want a healthy relationship, you gotta commit. You gotta commit to it all. It's like saying, oh, I just want a piece of it. But when it comes to relationships, if you want to have a great relationship, you got to make that commitment and stop looking elsewhere, because every time you go elsewhere, guess what you're going to run into? People. How about that? So no matter who you're with and what's going on, you're always going to run into people. You can't avoid it. If you change jobs, if you change mates, if you change churches, if you change schools, you're going to run into the same thing. It's called people and challenges and adversity. So you got to be able to commit to something. Commitment to someone and something, and stick and stay. So long as the relationship is fluid and there is no major adversity like abuse or infidelity and things like that I know people do not want to tolerate, and I truly respect that. We don't want to have a tolerance for dysfunction. We shouldn't have any tolerance for dysfunction in our relationships. We should definitely get those things handled and get them taken care of. So if it's one of those type scenarios where there's some type of air of major dysfunction, then of course we don't want you to stay in that type of relationship, because it becomes bondage at that point. But when it comes to having a healthy relationship, you gotta be able to connect, communicate, and commit. You gotta be able to do those things in order for it to really work and for you to see the manifestation of what you really want. So truthfully, is sex the real culprit keeping us from a healthy relationship? No. Sex is just one of the culprits. It's P. Koffe Brown here in the great state of Texas. This has been Thought Filled Thursday. I will see you guys Tuesday night for another episode of The Hot Seat, and also next Thursday as we talk about another thought-filled topic. Until then, miracles and blessings, guys. Have a fantastic balance of your day.